agreement. So the way that you get a parental agreement is just to put forward a few simple sentences, send it off to the mother, and you give her, 21 days, I guess, because it's sort of really polite, to be responded, but that she could see anything that she could or would be of an equalness, to make it equal. And that's what you're interested in. You're not interested in someone jumping over the other, and you can just say that that's not of an interest to you. Only it is that these children have a right to their parents, and there's no claim against you. It's fictional. And there's no witnesses either. And you never saw a claim. None. And all the time has passed. Your issue is that some claim must exist, and where is it? And they might just have blown you off, not to be considered of anything, and just trundling along with what they're doing, because every time, they have you in there, it's a Christmas tree. It's really a Christmas tree. It's just, it's a fruit tree. And it's growing fruit for them, not you. And it's really Santa's little secret about Christmas. One of the animals is going to get slaughtered. And that's just, Santa's little secret, the Christmas secret. And they have to keep that amongst themselves, because one of them, like the duck or the goose or the lamb or the cow or the pig or, is going to get its flesh eaten. And
Hello?
can you hear me?
Yes.
And given, if you were there, you could even give them just like 15 minutes to get that to you. And they don't, and they didn't. And so now you've got write up a certificate of default. And what you ought to do is address the prosecute hall, but then you address the prosecute hall by saying to the court that this is what's happened to you, and you've asked the prosecutor to give you the claim. And where is it? Because you need to see it, because you never have. And so what does that mean? It means that you've rebutted any thought or condition that something exists at all. Otherwise, they've just thought, well, something does, now we go on with something else. It's like, no, we've got to go back, we've got to find out that what you have, that nothing exists, because you've never seen anything. And so you can ask the prosecutor, where's the paperwork on the claim that you've submitted? And that's the 1099A and the 1099E. The 1099A is the claim, and what have they put there? And you've got a right to be satisfied. And you just want to be satisfied. Why? Well, because it's a contract, apparently, but it can't be if it's not transparent, and it certainly isn't if you've given no informed consent. And so, if you gave no informed consent and don't put a claim forward, that's fraud. Why? Well, because it's not a party, not at all. And so, immediately it should be, I'm noticing everyone that I'm reserving all my rights. And what does that mean? If anyone's listening and they're doing due diligence, it means this. It means that they must have a claimant themselves, Because what have you just said? You just said, I'm a living being and I'm raising the stakes, I'm raising the bar. I'm not interested in just arguing with fiction. I don't have any argument with fiction. You know, any fiction said, I'll just be agreed with you with what your fiction is. But that's not, anything that's real. And so you have a right to be satisfied. And it's like UCC 307 or something. It's in the Uniform Commercial Code. So it's just that you sort of look at the signature and see how it's done. And you have a right to be satisfied about that. And so, for instance, did your name get signed by them? Or did they sign their own name on behalf of you? And so, there's going to be a difference if they do, and how did they do that? And you have a right to look at what this is. And they're not going to show that to you. That's right. And so now you see you have a kind of right, well, because you've asked for things and not in violation of the laws, because you have a right to be able to use something. And then what you're just saying there is that you're not getting any due process whatsoever. And this is your affidavit as a testimony of fact. And you only want to get and make a record as you can there, which is only going to be minutes. And because you're doing this under oath of perjury, but they don't have anyone else there that's under oath of perjury, and you've put these things in, you've just said, this hasn't occurred, and 10 days passed by, or I went into the court and I asked, I was there for 15 minutes, nobody showed up with anything, and so I'm issuing the certificate of default. And who's it to? It's to the defender, it's to the prosecutor hall. Why? Well, because you asked for various things and it wasn't shown to you, and you have a right to those things, and the court dismissed. This case dismissed. That's another way to do this is to say, is to go about getting a parental agreement and get your parental agreement, and which you can, because if she wanted to modify it, well, she would, but why would she? How could she? She's going to put a lot of stuff that's biased there. Wow, that's not going to look too good, is it? She's got to be real 50-50 in the way that she is getting a parental agreement, and that's what you want. And you're not going to you don't want to put anything on there. You just want to, get back your life, and this has been a nuisance to you. And under the United Nations Charter, any official has to hear that this is a nuisance in your life, and it's not of any substance and no fact, and it's corpus delicti, and it's just a group of others all pitted, and not even who's the claimant. Apparently somebody complained they didn't even have a claim, and they're not even showing up more, and these people are just running you through things, and they don't even know you, and you don't know them. And if you didn't say that you didn't know them and they didn't know you, it's assumed they all know you, and you know them, and that must be a lie for sure. And you only need one thing. One thing would be, you could say, it's a common law trespass against your name, and it's violated the laws of the Constitution, which they have to uphold because they are a person. They are an individual. And why is that so? Well, it is because they're making business from a corporation and they're getting money from a corporation, and that's like quasi-government. And so they can't have that free and clear because you're the principle of the matter. And, yeah. So you're the major insurer, and you need to be satisfied. You have a right to that. So when they don't give you what you want, then you're immediately jumping into a certificate of default. And you're giving that to them. And you're asking for a hearing to quash the case. Because, you've asked for things and no one came up with it, so the prosecutor didn't. Prosecutor's been doing all kinds of things just to go on, and it's just a money thing, and you want that ended. You're like, well, because you don't want to be married for all this bloody time, and you never would have wanted it in the future, married to the prosecutor. It's like the two parents. What goes on is these people, they're in an orifice. The orifice is like joined as a wedding to the couple, and now they're never two anymore. It's three. And you can only serve one master, not two. And they should only be serving one master as well, not two. And you only can join like with like. And you're not a fiction. I'm reserving all my rights. Meaning that this has gone beyond whatever insurance that you guys had, because you have $120,000, $150,000 worth of insurance or something. And you've gone way beyond this. You're injured. You're harmed. You're harmed, injured, costed and damaged. And for what reason? Well, because of fraud that has no statute of limitation. Your children in a future moment, or their grandchildren could even take it up. Why? Well, because it's fraud. And a fraud that has no statute of limitation whatsoever. So you can't make it about a lot of things, and you can't have anything for them to decide. So you're ordering the court to quash the case because of the default judgment, and no claim exists against you, and that's a non-controvertible fact. Why? Well, because I gave them 15 minutes when I was there, and I asked if anybody had a claim. And in the next 15 minutes, if somebody did, please give it to me. And they don't. And it's like, okay, so then you're going down to the clerk of courts with a certificate of default, and you're making, made a copy of it, and you're putting one into the, asking them to put it on in the folder, and and you're hand delivering these to the prosecutor and the magistrate, and so now, and you're asking to have a hearing that's about this matter of a default judgment that's existing, because this is what you've done. So that could be that you put a parenting agreement forward, and the mother just sort of balked it. The attorney balked it for sure, because she or he is just, getting it make rain for them, and as long as they can just make it rain for themselves, they've got real incentive to keep it all going rather than be resolved with it. Another thing that you could do when you get it, you make a copy, you get a red fox stamp and stick it on it, and then just say, all taxes paid in full. And so what's that mean? It means that you now have moved to the front of the line versus having to deal with always, shouting and trying to get people heard up the front, but they can't really hear you because a fictional court can't decide things, and so they can't be asked to. The only thing that you can do is get a friendly suit. And what does that mean? It means that your beef or anyone else's has to be with the prosecuted hall, and so you speak to the prosecuted hall by speaking to the court, yeah? And so that way then you're being heard, and the whole court is hearing you addressing the prosecuted hall. And it's just simple. Where is the claim? I haven't seen it. Can you land it to me now? And they'll go, what? And say, well, show me the 1099A, because I have a feeling that someone has said that I've abandoned the fiduciary responsibility of the court, and you're by getting a certificate of default because they didn't answer you. You say, well, these people didn't answer, case closed. Why? Well, because there isn't a body. There isn't a claim, okay? You're not a party. And that's the end of it. Now, you've got a right to contract, and that's where your common law is. It really is in your right to ability to be able to contract with others. And they can say, Ricky, I want you to do 60 fucking jumps to a freedom hoop in the next 15 seconds. Fast, come on. And do jump jacks. And it's just jumping around, doing all sorts of things. But it could be not for your benefit whatsoever. It could be just to humiliate, and just so that somebody could feel a bit of a bully or something. And they get off on that for sure. But everybody should put aside whatever the adversity is, and the way that you do it is by agreeing with your adversity, the adverse one, and being underneath that and expressing it. So now what you've done is, you've got challenged them in the way you did things. You just pointed out the logic of what it is. Anyway, if you were there in court, it would be up to you to be able to ask for the claim. And now the turn on you, that's the prosecutor, doesn't provide anything, doesn't even respond. And so you just say, the prosecutor hasn't given this, as I've asked, and hasn't responded, and shows incompetence, case dismissed. So you have to keep doing what you can to dismiss where you are, because it's a ruse and it's communistic, and nobody really has any rights except for those knowledgeable, that they could know that every step or anything is like an order isn't an order, not at all. What is it? It's like, could you please, means the same thing. Could you please? And so, I order you this, I order you that. And it's equivalent to, would it be all right that you look at this and you can say, I object? You can say, point of order. And now you say it again. You say, I haven't seen a claim. And I've asked for it, and it hasn't been given to me. I've asked for for it 15 minutes ago, and I said, I just had 15 minutes to get it, and it hasn't been given, and I'm having a feeling of fraud's existing because someone is using my tax exemption, and that is wrong. And what's that? Well, they've phoned you a name by accommodation, and that's the reason why you want to ask them. You just got to say, well, I haven't seen any claim, and I need to have the law of being satisfied. Only that you could say that you've been retaliated against, and that the system has been sexist in the way that it's dealt with the parenting of the children, and that the players there are foreign agents. They're not even under the Constitution when they've taken an oath to serve another nation or another group, which they have. And so because of that, you have a right to ask for their certificate of oath as being a foreign agent and their bond about this. Now, do they have it? They're supposed to, but I could tell you they don't. They wouldn't want to be known as a foreign agent, which they are, because they're working for the American Bar Association. So if you walk in there and you say, is this American Bar Association business? And you ask a question and you pause. Okay, so I see that it's not. Right? I'm just rebutting these few things because I want to get clear what's going on a little bit. I want to clear the deck. I want to just see who's left there and what this is about, because I don't know. And now you see, you don't have to do much. It's better to stick with just one thing, and what's that? Well, I haven't seen a claim. And I'm asking about standing, because I've definitely been injured, no question about it. This is legal battery, because I've not been given any due process. Where did you inquire if a claim existed? And it's clear that I have objected to these things that you've just gone on as a repeated pattern, and you want to stop it. You want them out of your life. You want them to cease and desist. And you can have an injunction and ask for that. You can say, I'm requesting a court order to rule upon the evidence. And what does that mean? It means that they've got to look to see if any evidence exists, and it doesn't, and you've just called them out to do it, which is something they can't do because it doesn't exist. They've made it up. And so wherever it is that you ask a straight-up question like that is, clearly, and you gave the person 21 days to respond, and they didn't, was so late. At that point, then you write up a certificate of default. You take it down to the clerk. It's put there into the clerk, and then you're hand delivering that to in the same building. The prosecutor Hoyle, that's your adversary, and the magistrate is supposed to be just an independent witness, but often might not be, and might be making rulings from the bench. And so when somebody's doing that, they're starting to assume the liability, so that they are careful in the way they might, do things as they go to just intimidate. So, when you look and see that someone is smiling at something it is that you have just said, which truly is not something a natural person would be just smiling at. So the more that it's possible to catch the things that those people are doing, but also to you want to knock this on the head because you've just had enough of all this. It's just wrong by there because there was no reason for this whatsoever. And so, because they don't respond, now the evidence becomes non-controvertible. It means that there's no way they can cross me with it. They had an opportunity to, and obviously it is correct. Because otherwise, somebody would have written a response about what they see and trying to try to correct it and stuff. But they can't because it's true. It's true what you said, that there's no claim. And so you need to see the 1099A and the 1099C. So the 1099A is claiming the abandoned claim, and the 1099C is the 1099A is saying you're the principal of the matter, and if you want to, you could give them a check of a money order, and you can make that have to be $3 million or something. Someone could give that to the prosecutor, or you give it to the treasurer, pay it into the treasurer, and you'd be giving them copies to put forward, and because then when they didn't, well, that's refusing funds, and that just broken the bankruptcy laws, because nobody can be denied. It would be treasonous that they are, and you're wanting to mitigate any further harm, injury, cost, and damage, because it's your great care that your children have both parents, and that's something inevitable to you, and then things that you would want to rebut would be, and then you really ask these questions. You really like to ask these questions. If you don't, it's like you're messing up. Because somebody said you didn't say that it was not American Bar Association business. I guess it is. You didn't say that it's not Crown business. It is Crown business. I don't know what you thought, but I know this is not Crown business. So, is anybody who think it is? I'm not going to raise your hand. Okay, so you can just say, listen, I'm from. Can a corporation be from? No, it can't. It can come out of something, but it can't come from. So I come from the land. These crimes occurred to me on the land. Okay, so what have you done there? You've rebutted the assumption that this involves commerce in any way, which it doesn't. However, I've done everything to grow the Christmas tree, the fruit tree, right? So it's going to have easy ability to be plucked. So let's just say, all right, these people are honourable and they are under trust, and that's what you can expect. Now, let's just say that not honourable people and not very trustworthy whatsoever. And so at that point, then it's possible truly to say, look, I want an injunction against you guys. I'm going to be asking for that because you're not achieving anything whatsoever. It's a massive burden. You're not thought about actual damage that's done to the kids by making these rules, and having me be the fall guy for it when, I'm not one who's lied whatsoever, but the person that's done this is a liar. Because they made this, and this up, and it's found to be so. So what does that mean? It means that whoever it would be a witness or could be isn't, because why? Well, because they're biased. And you want an impartial referee, not someone who's biased. So the first thing is that you're rebutting is this American Bar Association? And pause. Very important when you ask a question, because you want whoever's there that you've addressed this to give you the answer. Now, when they don't, it's just like, for the record, the defendant hasn't responded and acquiesced, and for such cases, this case is dismissed. You and anybody could now go anywhere unless it was that you actually have a contract. And I only think it should be done because some think it's even-handed. And when it's not, it isn't. And it would never be. Okay, so putting it aside, and just imagine that like something would work there, and let's just say, just for non-hypothetically, that they're, not letting go. Because it's lucrative, all sorts of things, why should they let something go? They can just keep it going. But you're not interested in that. You don't want to go through stuff which is not to your benefit, not to your child's, not to your life, quite the opposite. It's a nuisance. And you want to be rid of it. And the reason is because I did spend time to get a claim, nothing came forward, so, I hereby declare this case is dismissed. So you've got to express your wish, because it can only be somebody wishing there, and the magistrate, she or he, really wants it to be, amongst them sort of thing, not shipped out to anybody else. So you're always addressing the court, and though you can be gestured sometimes to who you're talking to, which would be, the attorney on you, so let's say that they're not honourable. You put a letter in the clerk of courts, and that was what you'd be cared to do to, put an end to this mental all the time, and they don't do that. Let's just say they don't, because they're belligerent, because they don't understand things properly, because they feel they could get something over you or whatever. And so at this point, then now you can say, look, I've given you and asked you for this. You didn't provide any of it, and so for the matter that you haven't provided anything that I asked, I order the court to dismiss this case. Yep. And so it's your wish that happens. So you're going to make another wish, which is like, I'm ordering you to do this, I'm ordering to do that. And so you stick with things very, very simple. You just draw this up in the page. And it's just a few things that you want, which you've asked for in other ways, but they never showed nothing to you. So your first rebutting is this American Bar Association business, and the answer is no. Okay. Is this Crown business? And the answer is no. Okay. And so now what you've done is you've cleared the deck for that not to be necessarily under AMA guidelines and that sort of thing. And you, let's say they were honourable. What you do then is, because you've just said it in the paper that you have, which you've made a great affidavit and everything is in there, as you could get something on the record about it, that's really good. And let's say they're not honourable, things go on. And so now what you could do is you could pop along to a conditioner, as I said, having given the clerk of court a certificate of default, and once it's stamped, you get it back, and now you put a stamped copy of what that is. And you are asking for a hearing that relates to standing, and you've given the questions which was shown me the claim. I haven't seen it, nothing came forward, and so for this reason I'm ordering this court be dismissed. Something you could do before you did that might be, and it was for me to reach out to get a parenting agreement, or I did get one or I didn't, and something could be made out of it for sure, because you have a right to what's called presentment. Presentment is really, you don't know who, what, when, where, and how. And if something's left out, they can't be picked past any contract exists. But anyway, let's just say they're not honourable, and so now you can say, I've exhausted the remedy that I have. And you can only go on and do something else if you've exhausted the remedy. Or you can clearly see that you're not going to get a fair shake. So now what do you do? You can file a claim, and you file it as a common law court of record trial by jury process, so that's what they give you. And the document's drawn up like you're the prosecutor or they are the defendants, and you've got something on the other side which says trespass against my trade name and common law trespass, and because you've got something in your paper that the evidence is going over you, and because this is not the American Bar Association, because this is not the Crown's, and none could say that it's in the court today that this is for them. Any of them, they have to say no. Of course, it isn't. And so now you fit the states to the. I guess I must be the expert at winners, because what you've done is just to do what you can to put this certificate of default in your hands, and it's just case dismissed, right? Because it's non-controversial. Nothing really could have, should have. If it was, it would have come out. And because nothing came out, it's like, yeah, that's right, there's nothing there. That's all right. So let's just say that they're belligerent, they don't do anything. So now you have a right to take it, as I said, to a common law court of record trial by jury process, which is not going to involve any extraneous jury, because you are the jury, and in the room, who you're talking with is the jury, and that's what's going on. That's a common law court of record trial by jury process, and you're only interested in having observed to see if the wet signature exists. If it doesn't, and they won't put their wet signature onto that. And because of that, it's fictional, which it is. There's no living behind this, and it's just a fiction. And they're hoping that you will remain as a fiction, because then they could be joined with you. And it's, you have to think about, like, well, you put a tomato with tomato in there, and you put onions with onions, and you want order, and you want logic, and you can see that not any logic exists, because, there is no claim. So you have to stick with that. It just can't truly make things except that I want to mitigate against further harm and injury, cost and damage. Whereas you just said by presupposition that the conditions that impose on your kids has caused them to be suffered. And the men don't have a right to suffer your kids. And the parent could be thinking differently than each other, maybe for getting what's clear, just about what you would do, is just ask them that it's done at stage 2 respond to give you the claim, which they won't do. So now you issue a certificate of default judgment. And you hand that into the court, you get a stamped copy, and then you ask the clerk of court to give one to the magistrate, and you take a witness with you so that you can say it was witnessed that I gave this in at such and such a time, and okay, let's see, and now they have the certificate. You've got the certificate stamped, and you've given it to the deaf end of dance. So if you're not the plaintiff in this matter, you can be, and then you just be saying that Lucoma, all rights reserved, and we the people versus defendants versus Roger and Roger's full name, and Mary and Mary's full name, and Jane and Colin. Okay, so but none of them are going to step forward. Nothing exists there whatsoever. Only a fiction is, and because of that, it's truly a travesty. Because a lot of Travis Boswell, it's irreparable time that you could have had with your kids. And all they've done is to create fear and uncertainty and make the children feel demasculated because, they see the parent isn't potent and can't affect things. So let's just say that you always go forward and you're owning in terms of the trust and honour, etc. And then you see that it isn't, and so, well, that's, neither like to take this to a common law court or a trial by jury process, and you file a complaint. But let's just say that you want to be the plaintiff where you are, and so that you've got a counterclaim, which that's what you've got. So where are you getting this, which you would go forward first to get, and if you don't get it, okay, so then you can take them to a Article 3 court, where you're the prosecutor, and the magistrate is just an independent witness, and everyone you put your paperwork through to is your jury. And so you don't need a jury. You have your jury. It was all the people that you gave this to, and what you got back was just no fact, and still with a presupposition. So at that point, then you have exhausted whatever it is where you are, and now you can take this to a common law court or equal trial by jury process. And what you've done is you've made some minutes which will be pertinent, and you could even just say, well, I feel I've been retaliated against because it's easier that somebody can have done that, and to just be monopolised of your children, and that you don't agree to. So they've got to have agreement, and you'd say, anywhere there is, do you have a feeling, an agreement between us? It's a conversation, because you don't really make it. So you've just said, it's better that people would be working together. And what did you say by doing that? People may not necessarily be working together. So in the case where you are, you've got to jump into your own suit where you are there, so it doesn't cost you anything to say, I'm the plaintiff in the matter that I'm asking for, and asking the claimant for to show me the claim and land the claim, because I'm coming from the land, and that is the venue, and you're looking at whatever revenue that they did to pay themselves, and it's not a claim to clear. It isn't. Why? Because you just rebutted that you agree with that contract. You said you don't. So there can be lots of errors, and let's just say that who's there, they did sign their name in a manner that's fictional. Yeah, it's not a real name, because the address, the punctuation is not. If it was that, let's say, you've been against vaccination, and the other parent just went ahead and did vaccinate the kids, you have a right to stop that. Why? Because they have a hypocritical oath to uphold, and it's just that you have a right to be able to ask them if there's any contaminant in was the vaccine free of contaminant, because you didn't give permission. And can they say it was? No, it's full of contaminant. This is vaccine ecological with the body. No, it's not. Absolutely it isn't. It's opposite. You could say, I have the right to actually ask a few questions, because it's absolutely something that I've never asked for and was forced, like a medical battery upon the children, and I've been protecting them from, foreign protein, which is not meant to be in the body. And so you could say, is there any, tissue from aborted babies in there? And they're going to have to say yes, there is. And so you could say, I object to that, and that's not of any efficacy to have put into my children, and possibly there could be been harmed, injured, costed and damaged, and I never gave any permission for anybody to do that. And you could say, you can see that I've got quite a claim here. Things have been going on, and I have never been given any due process. And I'm truly done with this idea of being married to you guys here. Why? Well, because you don't know me, I don't know you, and I'm just done with that. I'm just just giving a fair warning that I'm reserving all my rights. And I'd like to see the claim. You didn't give it to me, and so I'm ordering the court to rule upon the evidence.
Okay.
Case dismissed. And you keep going with that when you can. Let's just say that they say, okay, we don't want that subject matter brought up anymore, because at this moment we're talking about reducing the amount of time, or we have a complaint that you didn't do this or didn't do that or something or other, or whatever. But only it is you've just said, look, I was here for the 10 minutes before this. There was plenty of time for the prosecutor to give me a claim, and hasn't. So what have you done? You haven't gone past that. You haven't budged. Don't budge.
Right.
And then they'll say, if you speak again, you do this or you do that, and it's like, you will throw your hands up. So you are under duress, and they could just go on with what they did. And now when you go home, you quickly rebut that. You say, I know that the court said this, that, and the other, and that is my wish. that this is the way that it is. Okay, so now what have you done? You've just responded back. And it's not a contract where they've been with things, because you've rejected that. I think that asking questions on a piece of paper that relates to whoever had done things, like let's say it's the prosecutor who's speaking on behalf of the mother, and so you could ask the prosecutor, as a father, I have a right to my children and the welfare of them, and I don't expect necessarily that someone else could know sometimes some things which I do, and vice versa. And it's better for the kids to have both parents. But if one parent has just been monopolising and hasn't considered what I've cared for, and I just would like to ask you if the vaccines the kids had, if there was any monkey protein there. It's got to be. That's not going to be an answer to that. And you say, well, so these are kinds of things which somebody as a parent might be very deeply concerned about, and someone else who's not their children, who doesn't even know me, and I don't know the prosecutor, and it must be the prosecutor's. If the children have been injured, and why? Well, they're definitely going to be injured if they put 2V40 simian virus. This comes from monkeys, and then you might say, well, it's a bit of a bother, and I'm not sure, but I have a feeling it could be true. And then you ask the prosecutor, it just seems to be the matter that I consider that medical battery actually can have occurred, and no consent was, and the doctor has a Hippocratic oath, and I never gave permission for anybody to vaccinate the kids. And just for the record, do you know if there was any pig protein in there? They're going to, no, they're not going to answer that. And so, well, I guess there probably was. And just for the record, I could imagine that, you've got MRC5 human diploid fetal fibroblast tissue, and for the reason if that would have that, I'm not giving permission at all, and I never would have, and I'm having a feeling that it's possible that those things were in the vaccine, and these are toxic, and they don't infer proper immunity. So, okay, well, you're not a doctor, and he's not a doctor, you're asking medical questions and everything, and so, well, sorry, I don't think that's medical questions at all. That's just common sense. And all I'm doing is finding out what's going on, because things are going on there which is just gone too far. It's going too far, sorry. And I'm not even reached the end of my line here, but I'd like to, remind the court that the prosecutor is incompetent.
Yeah. Because
the prosecutor should know these things and doesn't. And so, where's the informed consent that was given? Was it given because somebody's taken over the role of me, and apparently that they're doing that, and how can they? And I didn't ever give informed consent, and I don't see that the prosecutor can proper informed consent, because these are questions which, obviously must be so. And so, just for the record, and one more thing about this, because, it's really important to me, and you just say to them, do you have a feeling there could be actual fetal tissue in there? 3-month-old fetal tissue, aborted fetal tissue. And now they're going to go, look, well, this is really wrong. That's not what we're here for. You're not supposed to be actually bringing these issues up. You're not a doctor. He's not a doctor. And so I'm not saying that he's not a doctor, and I didn't say that this was medical advice or anything. It's quite clean for me just to be able to find what the truth is about all that, because, if somebody doesn't know what's inside something, how could they have given informed consent? Because they didn't. They didn't do their due diligence. And so, you say, for the record, I consider that children are being injured. Why? Well, because they've got fetal tissue in there. It's really from aborted fetuses. And these people just cut up little pieces of that baby and put it in the vaccine. And so I'm sure there was a bit of a pituitary gland in there. There was some lung and kidney, probably a bit of heart and tongue. And in the development of any of these vaccines, these are all tissues which can be used, and none can say that they're not part of the ingredients of the actual vaccine. But you just would say, look, you're there, you took a mosquito, and, you've taken an oath. American Bar Association, it says, yes, I have. And you say, well, you're a foreign agent. Where's your foreign agent insurance in bond? Your oath in bond? I asked for it, and you haven't given it to me. You say, and for these reasons, this case is dismissed, because these are, last of these things, and it's just a default in it. So you're serving a certificate of default for the case to be dismissed. And now when they don't do that, now you've exhausted the remedy where you are, you're done with these shady characters, now you're off to a new life, and where you go? You jump into your own suit. You say, I'm fed up with the suit that I've been in. That's not a right suit. You've been asking me to jump into your suit, and I don't want to do that anymore. I'm jumping into my own suit. Thank you so much. And then what you do is you go make a claim and file that as a common law court of record, trial by jury process, and now what you do is you just, from your own suit, now what you're doing is you're asking them, to you're just basically saying that these people are incompetent. Why? Well, because they didn't do any due diligence, and they've damaged your kid. And you have a case, you have a claim. And you'll say, well, you can't damage anyone with a vaccine. Everybody who gets a vaccine. And I just say that's a generalisation, and that's not to do with what the issues are that I've asked. And I'm just asking for common sense. And I'm just wondering to you don't feel that any harm, injury, cost, or damages, that these kids have all been received of fetal tissue from other children, which truly is toxic to the body, and that none of that could be defended against, because it's nothing ecological is supposed to fit into the body. And I'm just really done with the embarrassedness and the humiliatedness and the things that the kids have to go through. And what is it for? So they're going to be disempowered?
Yeah.
And they're going to be complex the rest of their life because they see me just getting dragged through everything. And, it's sexist. Why? Well, because there's no claim. And anyway, you should work toward getting rid of this as you can, and you can accept accept it for value. One thing you could do is you go to the federal courthouse, the federal district courthouse,
Okay.
which is where all the docket sheets stored, because that's what they write bonds of for themselves, and they bundle it all together, and they're a trading house.
Oh.
The courthouse is a trading house.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a trading house. And they're trading. That's what they're doing. And so that you go and you get that docket sheet and you ask for a certified copy of it, and they send this to you. And now you put a stamp on the front, in the top right-hand corner. You put a stamp in the bottom left-hand corner of the back. On the bottom right. The bottom right and the top left. So it's, the top right on the front page and the bottom right on the back page.
Right.
Okay? And you put a stamp there and sign through it, and then you just write all taxes are paid in full. And now you send a copy of that back, and you say this, and you stamp it. This is an original copy, and it's signed it, and what you've just done is to pay the tax, because you're the only one who could, and that's getting paid out of your bonds that you have there at the Federal Reserve Bank.
Nice.
And you're the only one who can do this. So now you must be received of the goods.
Let's go.
So it's a good to do that, or you could also get the docket sheet, ask for a certified copy of the docket sheet at the courthouse, and then accept it for value, and do the accept for value on the front of it. Yeah. And let's just say that they don't do anything with that. Well, that's a serious crime, right? Because they're going against bankruptcy. They've refused your payment, and they don't have a right to do this at all. So they can run around, not do anything per se, although you could do anything you can to make sure that you've got rapport with the magistrate, which is the court, and you address the court, though you're talking to the prosecutor, but you bring that through the judge. Anything you disagree with, you say objection, point of order, and then you come back to, I haven't seen any claim. And then they might say, yes, you do that. And you say, excuse me? And they'll say a bit slower. And then when I've asked you something, you say, I'd like to be able to answer that. And is it all right if you take 5 minutes out? They can't stand that, but you have a right to do it. And what does that mean? It means you've slowed everything down, they're going too fast, and you want them to read something out that you've just written down. So they're reading that into the record. So it could be that you object, it could be that you agree, whatever, or it could be you object, but you have these conditions, or outright you object it because it's harmful injuries and there's more cost and damage, and that's not something you want to be part of at all. You want to limit those things. So at the end of the day, they can not be with trust and honour, which they're supposed to be and should be. You've got to right them to, as I said, take them to a common law court of trial or due process. And before you do, you just ask, obviously this is not Bar Association business, so you buck that. So, and this is not the Crown's is to not think in terms of anything other than this is simple. And do it, you can have one sheet and have it all in one sheet so the magistrate can just sign off on it. So they could say, we're not giving you the common law court of record drive-by jury process. No, bugging you. You're just getting an Article 1 Article 2. And we don't have this. We can't. I said, okay, well, you always do what you can agree with them. And know your adversary until you agree with them. And you're to be underneath that. So it's a good position to be, because now you've asked them, it's a bit of an unfair relatedness, because they're just whipping the crap out of you and you've gone underneath it. And that you're not challenging their authority or anything. You're only looking at whatever logic exists and saying that objection, that doesn't seem logical, objection that it doesn't seem like it's as proper care that can be for those children. And or you could say, well, I would agree with that if you can give me the claim. So, you're honourable. You just said yes to them only with condition. Yeah? Okay. So that condition can't be satisfied. So it's an actual no. They can't. Yeah? But you've done the way that's sneaky, and so it's what you should do, because it really is wise to tell you, make sure that they really can affect subliminal, and they can really make sure they're changing their words good. Sometimes it's good just to write down a little bit what you would do, and have that as a cheat sheet in front of you, so that you could get down to that to get the ideas that you need. To go through it. And only show up in the court that you have a couple of witnesses.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to. It's going to be just once, maybe, because they're either going to give you what you want, which it sounds like they should, because it would be trouble for them to keep the child, because you've just said you deny the 1099A because the claim is not abandoned, and check the 1099E, which is their recoupment of your tax-deductible money, your non-taxable money. So what they did was to use your non-taxable currency and not pay the excise and the state tax on it, because they just can say that this is a abandoned vessel, but it's not, because you just said you claim that, and that's not theirs. So can they go forward with it still? No, they sure can't. They'll be surely committing forward, because you just not giving them permission at all. And
Right.
So that's something small, Ricky, just for the moment, but maybe it would be wise just to touch base, connect in a little bit as we go,
Of course.
And, exactly. Anyway, I'm doing things just at this moment so you could feel very bright, and that there's a light at the end of all this, what's going on at the moment.
Right.
It all can't, I can see how it could come undone, and who can do that, and what could be, and how could that be so. But somebody really can put things forward that, they clear up the condition that's existing. They truly can and do. And, I can see how that can happen. I want to be part of that. Because, you're a soldier in the field, and you really do what you can to go to bat for everyone. And you don't want people to be trampled on. I don't want people blaming up, which that's ridiculous. You just want to get to the bottom and get all the embedded Nazi, foreign agents, taking an oath to serve another master.
Yeah.
And so the fact is that the paper was put forward to you, every single piece of paper, and it didn't have your postal location. It wrote things down like it was a residence, so you didn't get permission to do that. And is it true because they did that they've now franchised you? Which they now look at the starry eyed, I say. Could you say that? Obviously, I'm the general executive and guardian of my own affair and my children, and I truly reject the things that's been going on. We've had to put up with a lot, there is no fair hearing. So either give me the child back, or otherwise I have to take you to court. And then when you do, it's a common law court record job by due process, and that's where you get things done.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I should, what we think would be good for us is, so any time is tomorrow, that you'd like for us to put a bit more energy into this and stuff, we can do that. So let's just say that you accepted it for value and you handed it in and they didn't put that forward. Well, now they really have. You've got a claim, right? Because they've gone against the bankruptcy laws. They had no right to hold your payment because as it would have gone forward, you're the major principal of the matter, and I can't continue to say that you've abandoned the claim. Only that you could say that they've committed fraud to say that you abandoned the claim when you didn't. So just make that one thing, not many, because you only need one, error on the document, and then the document can't serve anything if there's an error. Just the same as they only use fictional names on the documents they sent you. And this is a matter of your child. I want a real name. I want a real true name. I don't care for someone's fictional name. What? Somebody's just hiding behind a fiction, but injuring my children, and that's, I'm reserving all the rights. I'm coming from the unlimited bit because the damage is beyond the insurance that you have.
Right.
And I asked for the 1099, 1099A and the 1099E, and which would be able for me to be satisfied that I could see the signature and I could see what was the claim, if I agreed with that or not. I let you guys know that I've only received documents which you've put it together and you just rubber stamped it. I haven't seen any blue ink anywhere much. I don't know if somebody actually used their autograph and they're just using a stamp. But I have a right to inspect the documents. And it wasn't given to me, so this is why getting a certificate of default, case dismissed.
Right.
And you could say, I have a right to have an injunction for things where they are, and you could say, if that's all right, I'd be overjoyed to get a parent agreement ratified by the court, and is that okay? Well, of course it is. They have to say yes. They couldn't say, no, we're not going to let you do that. They say, whoa. There'd be another claim. Yeah? So then you go forward and you put an agreement forward, and the agreement is really straight up. I pay for the things where I am, you pay for the things where you are. I don't ask you to be a slave to me. You don't ask me to be a slave to you. Both of us do what we can to put the things forward as we you could tell me that these children aren't going to be injured by what you're doing, and I'd like you to sign a document that you're protecting my constitutional rights, which they can't, and they won't. Why? They're bloody well not protecting their rights, the bastards.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
What could do is would be to feel bright that something is definitely could do, and I don't think of it in terms of this requires lots of study, this requires paperwork. No. This has got to be just 6 or 7 sentences.
Okay.
Really plain. You've got to act like an accountant.
Okay.
They don't want sentences at all, these buggers. No, that bores them. They just want to see, they just want to see door, chair, tick, whatever. They don't want sentences about anything.
I like that.
And so you've got to be like an accountant as you go about it. But you have a right to be heard in common law, and you could say, look, go ahead with your business, and when you're finished, I'd like to say something. They'll go back to business, and then finally they'll give you a moment to say something, and that's where you make a record. Because that's the only thing that you could do. If you make a record, then you can use that to go forward into the other court. And so it behooves you to do everything to make a record about what this is, and when they don't do the right thing, now you've got something, because you said, look, I gave you this under penalty of perjury, and this is my affidavit of fact, and I put a bill forward that, and this is a counterclaim. So now you're the plaintiff, yeah? And they are the defendant, okay? And so you switch the paperwork on them. So you can't be remained as a defendant, you've got to be a whinging hag yourself. You must be the plaintiff, you see. You say, so it's a counterclaim, yeah? And you just put counterclaim underneath it, and you say publish, and you just give them notice about things. Just notice. We don't call it nothing else, just notice. Don't bother with anything else. And because you know that they're not going to read it, and they don't read headings, or don't put anything to it, and they don't really read the substance either. So don't give them anything to read. You say notice. You just say, these are observed, this is what happened. I asked for a claim and didn't come in. I gave 10 minutes for it, and it didn't. And so that's the reason I got a certificate of default. The case dismissed.
Hey.
And, so you, all of us, wherever we are, you only can say that, you're trusting that these people are under honour and trust them, and in good faith. And when they're not, they're not. And so then you've made a record about it, and that you don't need 50,000 things. You just need one thing which they didn't do for you. And what did they didn't do? They have not given you due process whatsoever. Why you ask these things? And you're injured. And where are they? Where's the injured party? Who is it? You're the one who's the injured party. I'm the one who's agreed and standing. And that's why you've got a counterclaim. And so you become the plaintiff, and you turn them into the defendant hands. Yeah. And so who's your adversary is the turn on you, is the prosecutor, that's just running you through the mill and just collecting money for themselves. And you could just say to them, because no claim exists, in the meantime, I have a right to get a parental agreement and be resolved of the matter by getting a parental agreement. Well, can they say, no, we don't want you to? So you have the right to contract. And that's where you have the common law right. It's just only in the right to contract, not anywhere else. Yeah. So there's about 50 ways to skin things where you are and pick the mango, or open up the coconut, or pick the fruit out of the pomegranate. It's probably better than 50 ways to pop the fruit out of the pomegranate. And you only need one, you don't need 51. So, your way, how you did it, is just as good as anything else. And so this is a perfect way to go about doing something where you are to get a default judgment, put a certificate of default, and quash the case. And then they say, no, you're not going to do that. No. And they say, well, no, it's obvious I've reached the end of my line where I am, and I have to take this into a common law court record tributary process because I want to make a record. Because where you are, there's no record being made. It's just minutes. That's all. And it's just minutes. It's not a record. So psychic doesn't exist because it's just in minutes. And the only record that would be a constitutional court, which is a common law court record trial by jury, and it's an Article 3 court. And you're not under statute there. Yes? Mm-hmm. You're under just common sense and common language. Yeah? Oh, yeah. And nothing else. And you just ask for, I want to see wet ink signatures in the file. Yeah? Yeah. So you always can agree with anybody, anything that anyone said, well, I could agree with that if you could show me this. And what's that mean? It means no. Yeah. It's a polite way to say no. But you did it in such a nice way. Well, I could agree with that on the basis that you could show me these things. Yeah? Mm. Anyway, you could just say, look, I want to have a hearing for standing because I've been asking issues which relate to this. I mean, and maybe, the headings haven't reminded you of what comes with it, but it's the actual body of the counterclaim that I have, not the headings. Yeah? And I don't want people just to be reading headings because maybe the heading didn't fit for them. I said, sorry, this is about the body of it, not the headings. And the worth of what the claim is not in the headings at all. It's in the body of the claim. Yeah? And you can say, I put it, and it's obvious that none of it's really been acted upon, and I do doubt, perhaps, that seems to me like maybe not even read. So, in my mind, I see that it's truly irresponsible because this relates to my children, and I'd be cared that some care is, and that's obviously a negligence. It's abuse and negligence. And I feel like it's just been under medical battery. So this is the claim that I would have. Yeah?
Right. Yes, sir.
Another thing you could do is you say, by the point where you are, you can say, listen, I'm fed up with these people. Where's your open bond? Give me your open bond. And are they going to do it? No. Well, they should. Why shouldn't they tell you where they are? Well, because that's their insurance. What, are they doing thinking they're not going to give you their insurance when you ask for it? They're going to give it to you. They're going to look at it, they might not, they won't. They're not going to do anything for you. Well, there you go, you've got a claim. You're more, you see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you can say, I do not want to be in a condition that I'm observing someone steal my tax refund, which they're doing. They're actually using your account and they're saying that it's coming out of your account and that you've abandoned it. And so because it is your account and you don't have to pay the tax, they don't have to pay the tax because it's abandoned. Whereas you're saying, sorry, I want that money back. That's supposed to be given to me. That's into my account. It's Federal Reserve account. And, you know, I have the right to be, as a fiduciary of my own affair and a guardian of my own affair, and I'm of age, and, you know, and I'm not interested in you considering me to be fictional or not having come of age.
Uh-huh.
And I'd like sophisticated trust that's been drawn upon, and the general fund that's been drawn upon, to reflect that this is not a claim free and clear. So you have to let people know it's not, because you know you can't get paid off on anything because there's no contract. And anyway, I say, we're not going to do that. So, well, show me the contract that exists. Where is it? What is it? I need to see it. And you say, oh, well, you know, you got any money in your pocket? And say, yes, I do. You say, okay, well, you know, there's the contract. You say, well, that's a funny thing, but I'd rebut that for sure, because, you know, it's been forced for me just to have to use this, and I would love to use something else if it existed, but it doesn't. Uh-huh. And I'd be sure for a day that I didn't have to use this, and there was something that was of a substance to me. You know, so I'm just doing this because it's a convenience. You know? And how could you survive if you didn't? Yeah. So that's not answer to the question that you've asked. Where's the contract? And so they still haven't provided a contract to you. But anyway, you say, look, who's injured here now? So, and they say the prosecutor says, well, the state's injured. So, you know, we've been injured. So, the state can't be injured. Sorry, that's incompetent. Case dismissed. So you've just got to with case dismissed, and that's what you want to do. I want to dismiss this case. It needs to be dismissed. Why? Because it's not serving me. I thought that maybe somebody thought they could get some benefit. Obviously, I could see that there's no benefit to me whatsoever. Seriously injured, harm, cost, and damage to kids and me. And I'm just giving you fair warning right now. You know, that I'm reserving all my rights. And the meaning of it is, if anybody heard you say that is, okay, well, we better make sure that we've got someone behind this claim. Where before the point that you're setting it out, it's no bother. They can just be coming along because you never challenged that there's actually a body behind the claim, and when it's just corpus delicti and it's made up, and it's a complaint, and there is no first-hand witnesses. And you know, if somebody has to have written up a claim himself, it's got to come from them. It can't say, well, Sally, could you write my claim for me? It's like, Sally can't write your claim for you. You know, you'd have to do it yourself, and Sally might be able to offer a bit of assistance, but it would have to come from you. Or you get up there and somebody's written a claim for another, and they say, is it possible for you to express what you claim? And they can't. It's like, because it doesn't exist. And so, you know, I'm not going to be accepting that somebody wrote a claim for someone else, and I don't see that they wrote that. It's just incorrect. Yeah?
All right.
And I don't see somebody else is going to write a claim for someone else. How can they do that? They can't do that, sorry. Anyway, incubate on these few things. And anytime that tomorrow, give me a text and I'll call you back, mate. Yeah. And go over the things that we've said, and then it's possible for me to go over some more things with you there. You just when you have a moment, text me, and it's possible for us to talk a bit more. Yeah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna text you soon, Dr. Jubb.
Yeah, mate. Well, anyway, let's look on the bright side. Let's down the road.
Okay.
So it's, yeah.
That sounds
And,
good.
yes, and, all right, mate. Love you, mate.
Okay.
And give us a text tomorrow if you need it.
All right, I'm going to text you soon.
We can have a quick one.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, love you, mate.
I can't wait. Love you too.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right. Talk to you soon.